than 2% of all COVID-19 positive cases in the entire state of New Jersey. And we have a tourism industry that's the second largest tourism county in the state of New Jersey, and that's Cape May County, which sends $550 million in tourism tax dollars to Trenton each and every year. And these small businesses that have been on the boardwalks and in those shore towns for multi-generations are being, unfortunately, overburdened and overstressed.
It has the casinos too, right?
The casinos. I don't have the casinos in my district. That's Legislative District 2. And the casinos absolutely should be open as well. And, you know, so many of the individuals that live in my legislative district are employed by those casinos. And, and the beautiful thing that you brought up about the casinos, the casino industry submitted a wonderful plan to Governor Murphy to open up, a plan to open up their casinos, to have patrons there, and not just open up willy-nilly, but to open up safely and efficiently. And they could absolutely do that. I think we have to have a level of trust from the government to those captains of industry, like the casino industry. Cape May County submitted a plan from their Board of Chosen Freeholders that was adopted by Atlantic County. And to show that I'm bipartisan, Senate President Sweeney gave his stamp of approval to that Cape May County plan. And what has happened to that Cape May County plan? It has languished on the desk of Governor Murphy.
Right. Before we get into politics, obviously we will get into politics. So tell our viewers, who's Michael Testa? What's your background? Are you, does politics run in your family or?
It does. I mean, my name, for those that don't know me, my name is Michael Testa Jr. I'm born and raised in the city of Vineland, New Jersey, which is Cumberland County. I'm 44 years old. I'm married to my wife, Julie. We have 3 children, my daughter, Eva Marie, who's 10, my daughter, Sarah, who's 8, and my son, Michael III, who we call Trip, who's going to be 4 on July 2nd. I've been practicing law at my family's law firm. It's called Testa and White. This will be my 19th year. I can't believe that I'm out that long already. Politics does run in my family. My grandfather, who I'm very proud of, who didn't speak a word of English until 1st grade. His name is Frank Testa. He's deceased. He was the first elected mayor of the city of Vineland. It used to be a borough and a township. He was a Superior Court judge. My father is the former Republican chairman for the city of Vineland, and I'm currently the county chairman for Cumberland County Republican Organization.
So you have the background.
A little bit, yeah. It definitely runs. Our dinner table conversations are always quite interesting in our family. Yes.
Right. What have you before becoming a senator? I know you were you still are Cumberland County Republican chair. Did you run for office before this, or is this the first time running for office?
This was my first time running for public office. I can tell you I've always been heavily involved in my community. Probably, I'd say 6 months after becoming an attorney. And
well, then congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, so, 6 months after becoming an attorney, back in 2001, I got heavily involved in the Vineland Downtown Improvement District because my downtown had become a little bit dilapidated. My office is in the downtown of the city of Vineland, a city that is very near and dear to me. And, I remember just the way I got my start in public service was I was planting flowers in our mini parks just to somewhat beautify our downtown. I got heavily involved in that. I eventually became the chairman of the Downtown Improvement District, and we helped make our Downtown Improvement District what's called a Main Street organization, which there's many Main Street organizations throughout the state of New Jersey. I'm proud to say that Vineland's is actually the largest Main Street organization as far as the size and quantity of stores that are in it. After that, I got heavily involved in Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Cumberland and Salem counties. I ultimately rose to be chairman of that board, president of the board of Cumberland and Salem County Big Brothers, Big Sisters. We were board of the entire United States of America in the year 2015 with me sitting as the board president. So I'm very proud of that fact. I've always tried to make civic service and giving back to my community an integral part of my community. As far as professionally is concerned, I was the youngest president of the Cumberland County Bar Association in its history. I was heavily involved in the State Bar Association. I was on the Board of Trustees for the State Bar Association for 6 years, and I was the chairman of their legislative committee for a year. So I've been heavily involved, but as far as becoming the state senator, that was my first run for public office. So thank you for the congratulations, and it was an eye-opener, believe me. One of the criticisms of me was that I had never had my name on the ballot and I was a county chairman. Well, now I've had my name on the ballot. I certainly know what it's like to run in a difficult race.
No, that's a great resume for a first timer, and I know it's really hard. I know people think it's easy to talk negative about any field, not just politics, but I think it's really a lot of hard work. I see a lot of people for campaign kickoffs, and they keep inviting me from a media side, and I see the amount of hard work they put in. It's not an easy job for people out there who think it's easy. No, it's not. It's really hard job. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, it has run in my blood. So I remember the Sunday Italian dinners where my grandfather would be sort of the head of the table and my father and uncle would be talking about politics and I'd be listening. You really do have to live, eat and breathe politics. And it's unfortunate because it is a sacrifice running for office. My children did not see me very much. My wife didn't see me very much. She wasn't really happy about that. And, we were sort of just passing each other during the campaign, especially for the last probably 4 months of the campaign. But I learned a lot and I met so many great people in Legislative District 1. Places that I wasn't really fully aware of. I mean, I know Cumberland County very well, and I thought I knew Cape May County, but I did not know all of the townships in Cape May County and all of their leaders, and all of their elected officials, all of the businesses that I frequented. I tried to eat out at so many of the different restaurants and diners that were throughout South Jersey here, and I just had a wonderful time. It really was a great learning experience, and I tried not to let the negative campaigning get to me because there was certainly a lot of that.
So you're right. That's great to hear. Let's talk about current state of affairs in our state, New Jersey. I live in New Jersey myself, 12 years out there. I live in Central Jersey myself, been a longtime resident of New Jersey. So
do you believe there's a Central Jersey?
Yeah.
There's a debate about that, There's a pretty big debate.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to kick any debate. I just said out of in the flow. But yeah, that's a state of New Jersey, okay? State of New Jersey. So what's your take on current Governor Phil Murphy's administration and his policies, especially on including, let's talk about two issues. One is including the LGBTQ curriculum in public schools in the state of New Jersey, making it a mandatory as part of the public education, and his policies on issuing driver's licenses to undocumented or criminal illegal aliens.
Well, I was heavily against giving driver's licenses to illegal aliens. I mean, it's very well known in the state of New Jersey, and this is an area of law that I practice. I practice a lot of municipal law. Every single case in the state of New Jersey says that a driver's license is not a right, it's a privilege. And I heard a lot of talk during sort of the campaign, so to speak, about giving driver's licenses to illegals, that this was a right. It is definitely not a right to operate a motor vehicle over the roads and highways of the state of New Jersey. It is a privilege, and it is a privilege that should come with in my opinion, should come with citizenship. There's that old American Express commercial that membership has its privileges, right? And you had the person hold up their credit card. Yeah. In my humble estimation, citizenship should come with its privileges. One of them being the right to have the privilege to have a driver's license. With regards to the school curriculum issue, look, I think certain issues should be taught by the parents. And I believe that instead of making it a mandate, there should be an opt-out provision. And look, I know Governor Murphy has said that he wants to make New Jersey the California of the East Coast, but California even gave parents the right to opt out of the current curriculum that now is becoming a New Jersey mandate. And I don't feel comfortable with really any type of mandate, especially when it comes to issues that are near and dear to parents that they believe should be taught in their home.
All right. Yeah, the Murphy administration is marketing like it's the second biggest thing in the United States. They're proudly declaring that New Jersey is the second state after state of California, which mandated LGBTQ curriculum as part of the middle school. It starts from middle school, actually, school district. So what do you think about that?
Again, I think, with California, they're allowing an opt-out. I mean, I have nothing against the LGBTQ community. I don't see why it has to be mandated when, families have some of their own values that may disagree with any type of mandate in the curriculum. I believe that there should be an opt-out provision. Some of this stuff is sensitive materials, and I just don't know that it should be taught at the middle school level. It might be even a little bit too young to introduce some children, and that's what they are, children. If we're talking about fifth graders, that's a 10 and 11-year-old child. I don't understand necessarily the necessity there.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. You just said you're personally not against LGBTQ community or the aspects of that, but why is there a perception? Is it political in nature? Why is there a perception that Republicans in general are against the LGBTQ community? Is that true?
No, I don't believe that's true at all. I really don't. I think, I believe in, the Governor Kane, not Senator Kane, Governor Kane's notion that the Republican Party is a very big tent party, that we are a very, very tolerant party. Again, I don't see any problem with celebrating the LGBTQ community if that's what someone wants to do. I believe in liberty, right? I believe in freedom, the right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. That's what our nation is founded upon. I certainly don't want to infringe upon anybody's way of life. That's their choice to live their life that way. I think it's wholly unfair to paint the Republican Party with such a broad brush to say that we're anti-LGBTQ. It doesn't make much sense to me. Right. And on the flip side, I think if you see the so-called progressive community, they seem to be the most anti-tolerant community out there. As far as, if you say, if someone says that they're a evangelical Christian, they're painted with a very broad brush. If someone says that they're a believer in the Second Amendment, they're painted with another broad brush. It's unfortunate. I think if we all sat down across the table from each other and focused on our similarities rather than our differences, we'd have a much stronger state and a much stronger nation.
Right. You use the word progressive, so let me elaborate a little bit on that.
Sure.
So your opposition party, Democrats, right? They sometimes call themselves progressive. Sometimes they call themselves liberal. Sometimes the left of the center. Sometimes they call them Democrats. So what is the right phrase? I mean, are these all synonymous in nature, or are they all politically opportunistic in nature?
I don't believe they're synonymous at all. I believe that, when I think of a true Democrat, I think of someone like JFK, former President John F. Kennedy. Yeah. That's someone who I could sit across the table from and certainly reason with. The differences weren't so stark as they are now. I don't like to call the party progressives. That they understand nomenclature very well. They know exactly what they're doing. Think about it. Many years ago they were called they identified themselves as the Democrat Party. Well, that fell out of favor, for many years, and then they decided to call themselves Liberal Party for the most part. Well, that fell out of favor after someone like Rush Limbaugh, who I would say is a very smart person in the media. He was calling them all limousine liberals. I mean, he sort of coined that phrase. I believe it was him who coined that phrase. And people, decided, hey, wait a minute, now the term liberal is a bad term. Let's call ourselves progressive. And I'm a big fan of the English language. That's a very dangerous word, progressive, in my opinion, because it implies that that party and those individuals are for progress. It also has the opposite effect. It implies that the Republican Party are either anti-progress or worse, regressive, which is absolutely not the case. I think, the Republican Party can be summed up in a number of ways. One of them, very simply, we want the government off of our backs and out of our pockets.
Right. I was going to ask, if they're progressive, what does that make Republicans? Retrogressive, lethargic? I don't know. My English is not great, but
you're absolutely right. It implies that we're either anti-progress or regressive. Like, look at the tax structure in the state of New Jersey right now. Is that progress to you? It's not progress to me. I mean, the average middle class family can't afford to load up their minivan and go to the shore with their children for a week. That was the typical middle class family in the state of New Jersey when I was growing up in the 80s. That happened. Most families were able to do that in my district. And guess what? That American dream no longer exists because it just costs too much to live here.
Yeah, talking about living here, right? I keep hearing the slogan, live in Jersey or leave Jersey or something to that effect. So what do you think is going on right now? Are people interested in living here or leaving from here?
I
Here,
think, look,
meaning New Jersey.
New Jersey has the greatest max exodus of citizens in the entire United States of America. We have the greatest outward migration of retirees in the United States of America. We have the greatest outward migration of pensioners in the entire United States of America. These are very bad trends. And, you know, I've made the joke that eventually New Jersey will be, you know, like the country Greece, where half the people work for the government and the other half don't work. You know, this is a real problem. We have to reverse this trend. You know, New Jersey is not a palatable state for any corporation to move into. We've seen the flight of corporations, you know, through multiple administrations, because the tax structure for our corporations has no incentives for corporations to move here. And if they're already here, to stay here. It also is just overburdensome for pensioners when they realize, hey, wait a minute, I can still collect this pension check and live out of the state and not be burdened by the ridiculous tax structure we have for property taxes in the state of New Jersey. I mean, there's a whole lot of reform that is necessary to make New Jersey palatable. One of the things I do want to say is I love the state of New Jersey. I mean, you know, think of what we have, and if you've never been
So do I.
If you've never been to my legislative district, we have beautiful coasts. We have in Cumberland County, and in Cape May County, we have some of the greatest farms in the entire state, in the entire country. I mean, I often tell people, when you go out to your car and you look at your license plate, and at the bottom of it, it says the Garden State, you should be thankful, because it's South Jersey that's mostly providing the garden in the Garden State. You know, we have so many resources here, but we just need to make it more palatable to live here. You know, our insane tax structure. And I would say that, you know, if you're going to compare states, and the person can have a job in the state of New Jersey, or they can have a job in Georgia making the same amount of money, they're going to choose Georgia every time, unless all of their family is in the state of New Jersey. And it's really sad, because it's broken up families. I said this many times during the campaign. I can't tell you how many of my constituents see their grandchildren through FaceTime, through their phone, and that's it. They don't see their grandchildren face to face on Sunday. I'm blessed. My parents live 12 minutes away from me, door to door. My children get to see their grandmom and grandpop all of the time, you know, whenever they want to, and it's wonderful. But I can't imagine what it must be like for the frustrated grandparents that only get to see their grandchildren by way of FaceTime, unless it's a special occasion, like a big holiday like Christmas or something along those lines.
Thanksgiving or something. Yeah,
you're right.
So it's my turn to pick on you for calling South Jersey. So there you go.
Go ahead.
Scores are settled now. We're even. Okay, 1-1.
You got it.
So is it true, talking about the Republican Party, well, actually, you know what, let me take a step back even before I get there. Ever since you became a senator, what are some of the developmental activities you've been focusing on in your district? Like, were you focusing on expanding Route 55 and things like that?
That's a great point. I mean, I've certainly been looking at expanding Route 55. It's a necessary project. You know, I get very frustrated when I look at newspapers, any types of media, and I see expansion projects happening in North Jersey. We're asking for one highway, and it's been this way for over 30 years, not completed. And, you know, if you look at the original plans for Route 55, it was supposed to extend all the way into Cape May County in a town called Cape May Courthouse, right where Route 9 and the Garden State Parkway intersect. So it was going to be this really beautiful intersection of Route 9, Route 55, and go right into the Garden State Parkway for people that want to go all the way to Cape May or Wildwood. And it's been stalled for so many years. And look, I don't want to harm the environment, you know, because this is how Republicans get labeled. We're, you know, anti-environment, and we want to
anti-clean energy.
Correct. But this is a road that has been really promised for 40 years at this point. And the trouble with Cape May County is it is the 5th most dangerous county to evacuate in the United States of America should a catastrophic storm hit. So God forbid we get another Superstorm Sandy or some other type of catastrophic weather event. We have a very difficult time evacuating all of the islands in Cape May County. it's a real problem.
Is that because of geographical location or the terrain, or?
And because they don't have a proper highway system to get out. Route 55 would provide that. Right now they have Route 47 and 347, and they get flooded. I mean, you know, they get absolutely flooded. In Superstorm Sandy, they were under over 3 feet of water. You know, that's a real problem. You can't get out. So the evacuation route is an absolute necessity. It would also be great because Cape May County suffers from a lack of commerce. It's a seasonal economy.
Yep. Had
they had a good highway system to actually get into Cape May County, I think you would see Cape May County flourish a whole lot more.
So unfortunately with this COVID, I'm assuming since it's all seasonal in nature, I'm assuming all the business have been affected pretty badly, right?
That's an understatement. You know,
yeah.
We've had one single employer had to lay off over 400 employees. I mean, you know, it's catastrophic in nature. You know, and the governor has not listened. He's taken this blanket approach to the entire state of New Jersey and treated South Jersey as if it was like New York City or some of the North Jersey counties that were horribly affected by COVID-19. And I want to be clear about something. I'm not one of these people that doesn't believe COVID-19 is real. I know it's real. I know it can affect people's lives horrifically and possibly cause death. However, what I don't understand is at one point we were less than 1% of all cases in the state. Why are we shutting everything down for the 1% when 99% of the people were healthy? It doesn't make any sense. We have to have something to come back to. And, you know, other states were open and they're not having these catastrophic numbers. And look, if you take away the long-term care facilities and the prison systems in my legislative district, the numbers would be even lower.
Right. On the flip side, Governor Murphy has been blaming President Trump for his delayed reaction or action on this COVID. And him and Nancy Pelosi, Speaker, they've been blaming President Trump. What have you got to say about that?
You know, it's a shame that they have to be so partisan about you know, a disease that really isn't partisan. You know, from what I can tell, China was not honest with anyone, with the World Health Organization or the United States about how contagious this disease is. And look, thank God, you know, folks like Dr. Fauci were catastrophically wrong. You know, I mean, even Governor Cuomo said all of the experts were wrong. We have to throw everything out of the window because we were originally told, and thank God that it didn't come out this way, but that the model was that 2 million Americans were going to lose their lives. Thank God we're not there. This is not nearly as contagious as we once thought it was, number one. And number two, it's not anywhere near as deadly as we once thought it was. We've shut down the economy in Cape May County and Cumberland County and all the other counties throughout the state. And I don't know that it was as necessary as Governor Murphy once thought. Listen, the first 30 days, I agreed with him 100% because it was the novel coronavirus. That's what everybody was calling it, the novel coronavirus. It was new. We did not know what it could do. But I could tell you, you know, Cape May County submitted their plan approximately 6 weeks ago. For the last 5-6 weeks, my district should have been open for business with restrictions in place. That the restrictions in place that the South Jersey Chamber of Commerce submitted, that Cape May County submitted, that Atlantic County adopted, that Senator Sweeney put his stamp of approval on, our economy would not be feeling these effects, which we're going to feel for years to come.
Right. Cool. Yeah. But let's talk about Republican Party a little bit.
Sure.
Do you think the state of New Jersey will ever become a red state, at least in terms of majority, or is that just a distant dream?
It's certainly a dream of mine, but look, the left and the progressives, so to speak, are making our job a little bit easier, in my opinion. You know, you look at a city like Seattle right now, and, you know, they're an occupied city. In my opinion, these are domestic terrorists that are, now it's called CHOP. Yes, 2 days ago it was Chaz, now it's CHOP. You know, and you have people who are actually coming to the table, and somehow the media is giving them some level of legitimacy to defund and disband police forces. You don't hear any Republicans speaking about this. And I think when you have your independent voters, the Republicans obviously are always going to vote Republican, but when you have independent voters, and right now the Republican Party is down about 1 million registered voters to the Democrat Party in the state of New Jersey. But when independent voters and your traditional JFK moderate Democrats hear about defunding and disbanding police forces, I think you're going to see a lot more people pull the lever for the Republican Party.
How is it possible to convert blue to red, the state of New Jersey, especially from what I think, maybe I'm wrong, the LD1 is probably the only district, or maybe one of the very few, which is completely Republican. In other words, both the Assembly and the Senate seats are held by Republicans. Is that right?
That is correct. And look, we flipped that entire district in 1 year. That was last year. That was the
but
first
that's one
time.
district. You got 40 districts, or not
Right.
40, but 52, and yep.
You have to take it one step at a time, for sure. And we were able to do that. We were the first district to do that in 28 years. And I'm hoping that it'll be like a thermometer, where the bottom of the state, the first district, you'll see that red rise up throughout the state. Because I think a lot of people are going to be fed up. You can't have the same people coming back. Nationally, I'll use Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi as examples. How can these folks with a straight face honestly say that they have the solution to fix our country and their states when they've been on the political scene for over 40 years? It makes absolutely no sense. And I will quote Donald Trump on this, our president. What have they got to lose by voting for Republicans? The state legislature has been controlled by the Democrat Party for the better part of 2.5 decades. And what has been done to help New Jersey become a more affordable place to live and a more attractive state for businesses to thrive? I joke about that sign that's on the Trenton Bridge that says Trenton makes and the world takes. What does Trenton make besides mistakes anymore? Right? I mean, it's very sad to me. We need to make New Jersey more palatable for people to stay here who are already here, to come live here, and actually attract businesses to come move into the state of New Jersey.
But historically, Michael, historically speaking, numbers say that this is far from becoming a red state. So why do you think that will change now? What is it? What's the factor that's going to make that change or switch from blue to red?
Because I think the left is going too far left. I truly believe that. I think that they're going so far left into the progressive zone of the AOCs, the Pelosi's, the Schumers. We're just going so far left. I think your average New Jerseyan is getting sick of it. And I think
but they say, sorry to interrupt, but they say President Trump is going too far right. That's their argument.
You know what's also funny? They always ask every Republican to disavow President Trump, yet they'll never disavow AOC, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. It's amazing to me. Look, I disagree that President Trump is going too far right. I'm also President Trump's co-chair for his re-election campaign for the state of New Jersey. So you're not going to hear me disavow President Trump at all, unless he makes a grave mistake that he hasn't made yet. Look what they did with the impeachment process. That was a total failure on their part, a total and utter failure. They tried to make something out of nothing, and they've been continuously trying to attack President Trump, and they've made nothing stick to him. Nothing.
Right. So talking about Republicans, is it true that many Republicans do not openly or publicly call themselves Republicans, or they're kind of hesitant or afraid to call themselves Republicans? Is that true?
I don't have that happen in my county. Look, I'm a county chairman, and I'm proud to.
No, I Michael, I'm not going to let you get away with this, because your district is a totally dark red district. Okay? I'm sorry, you cannot use LD1 as an example in defending your party. You got to use some other district, okay?
Well, my county honestly only has one Republican freeholder, and there's 6 Democrat freeholders, Cumberland County. So, okay. But look, I don't think that many Republicans are afraid to identify as Republicans. I think a lot of times, because of the browbeating that has come from the radical left, you'll hear a lot of Republicans not want to discuss President Trump for fear that they're going to be labeled, a racist or something ridiculous. I mean, the fact that people even try to lob that allegation against President Trump is patently ridiculous. But I will say this: I don't think anyone necessarily wants to ever disavow the Republican Party. One of the troubles I see where the media is maybe winning that battle is trying to get people to be quiet about their support for Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's a shame that not all, and I say this openly, not all, but some media houses are openly in favor of, either left or right, but mostly left. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the media is hard left. And one of the things I want to be clear about is I don't understand the radical left's belief that they want to see America fail. They want to see President Trump fail. I wasn't the biggest fan at all of President Obama, but I didn't want to see the nation fail. This is the greatest nation the world has ever known. And you know what? Whoever wins and is in that office, you have to respect who is in that office. You have to respect the office of the president, and you want to see America win. I don't understand when people legitimately want to see America fail. I can't comprehend that. Our nation is better than that. Our people are better than that. And we need to do a better job of actually collectively coming together to want to see America win.
So what kind of Republican is Michael Testa? Is he conservative Republican, moderate Republican, soft Republican? None of the above is not an option. So you have to pick one.
I would say as fiscally, I'm extremely conservative. I would say fiscally, I'm extremely conservative. I would say socially, I'm somewhat libertarian in that regard. I believe that everyone's rights extends to the tip of my nose. I mean, I really don't want to get involved in their personal life, and I don't believe the government belongs there. I really don't believe the government belongs in people's personal lives.
So what are some other issues in your district aside from, I know you're focusing on expanding the Route 55 corridor. Any other issues you're focusing on?
Absolutely. I mean, Cumberland County is, if you look at the metrics, my home county, we are the poorest county in the state. It's a real problem. I'm trying to help create an environment that businesses want to move here, obviously, and employ people, because we need higher level paying jobs in Cumberland County. Cape May County suffers from an aging population and a seasonal economy. We need to create a year-round economy in Cape May County and hopefully attract younger people. One of the things I look at is I look at the average age of the Bar Association in Cape May County, because that's the profession I practice in. I'm an attorney. And I see that the average age is pretty old, and that's not a good thing. You want to have young lawyers that want to move into Cape May County. And I think for, Cape May County is a beautiful place, but it's also very expensive to live if you're going to live in the shore communities. And look, if anyone's moving to Cape May County, they're probably not looking, inland. They're looking, so they want to be near the beach or near the bay. So I think that, we want to be able to attract young, ambitious professionals and mid-paying jobs and higher-paying jobs to Cape May County. I mean, it's unfortunate we suffer from such a seasonal economy there.
What's your just out of curiosity, what's your specialization in when you say you're an attorney? Are you immigration?
I do litigation. So I have an LLM in trial advocacy from Temple University. Okay. I went to undergrad at Villanova, and then I went to Villanova Law, but I have my LLM in trial advocacy from Temple, and I do criminal defense, personal injury, and municipal court. So I practice a wide array of law, but I would say, criminal defense and personal injury, my 1 and 2 areas of law that I practice.
Nice to know. So in one of your speeches last year, you were talking about reducing or doing away with some laws because there are just too many of those laws. What are those laws you're trying to take away?
I'm not necessarily sure I recall that speech, and I apologize for that.
That's okay, because you were mentioning there are a bunch of laws in New Jersey, and you're planning on there's just too many, and you're planning on getting rid of some of those.
Oh, I may have said we were overregulated. I mean, I could have said overregulated in this state. There seems to be a regulation for everything. And if someone wants to open a business, for instance, right. I've compared the packets. It's interesting, and if you go to the state of Delaware, if you want to start a business, the packet's like this thin. Yep. If you come to the state of New Jersey, you have not only state regulations, you have your county regulations, then you have DEP regulations, and you have your municipal regulations. It ends up being like that. I do want to go back to your question about am I a conservative Republican? I would say getting back to that, I'm a constitutionalist. So if you're familiar with deceased Justice Antonin Scalia, he was my favorite justice by far, I think I really rely on the fact that the Constitution is what it says it is, that it's clear and unambiguous, that you can't read things into the Constitution that are not there. And I don't believe that the Constitution is a living, breathing document. That's what amendments are for, right? So, I want to be clear on that, because I think some people, one of the easiest things to lob at a Republican is that they're a rhino, a Republican in name only. I am not a Republican in name only. I am a Republican, and a very proud one at that.
You know what? I gotta make a confession here. When I gave you the three options, right? When asked what kind of Republican are you, conservative, I can't remember. I said, I think modern and soft. I was about to include the fourth option, rhino, but I didn't want to offend your Republican feelings. So I did.
No, it's okay. I mean, look, that's a common phrase that is used for, I'm unapologetic in who I am. I mean, those are my values. They're very conservative values. And when I say fiscally conservative, look what has happened when the state of New Jersey, there's a tax for everything. It's a problem. We're just the most tax burdened and most stressed state in the entire United States of America. And by the way, if you look at the numbers that go with that in the statistics, we're also one of the most depressed states mentally. I mean, we have such a high number of people reporting depression because of how difficult it is to simply live and thrive in the state of New Jersey.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Is that official figures?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's unfortunately true. Yeah, it's unfortunately true.
All right. So you're fiscally conservative, but not ideologically, huh?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean. I mean, that's such an easy, broad brush to paint with. I mean, again, I really don't believe that the government belongs in people's bedrooms, and knowing their personal lives. I don't think that's the purview of the government.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you a hard time there.
It's okay.
What are your political plans or goals, Michael? So I know you want to step up the ladder a little bit next time and go federal Senate or congressman or anything like that.
I'm really just focused on my legislative district right now. I mean, I'm getting a short term here, so I'm only fulfilling a 2-year unexpired term. So I'm probably really just rethinking about re-election next November, but I want to get through this election first. I'm the co-chair for President Trump in the state of New Jersey, along with my colleague, Senator Joseph Panaccio, Jersey Joe Panaccio, right, who's a great guy. And I want to get my county candidates elected this year. I'd like to flip Cumberland County red. Cape May County is fully red, but my home county, Cumberland, is not. It's pretty blue. We have 3 freeholders and a sheriff candidate this year. So I really like to flip Cumberland red.
If I'm not wrong, it's your district, legislative district 1 is complete Cumberland, full Cumberland and parts of Atlantic and Cape May, correct?
It's all of Cape May, most of Cumberland except for Deerfield, Upper Deerfield, and Bridgeton, and then a little sliver of Atlantic County.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the largest in land area in the state.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're going to redraw the districts now, right? And sometime end of this year, or probably.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, yeah.
Or they should, I should say.
Yes. Yeah.
They should. So what's your so that's your plan? Running for re-election. That's your plan. No.
That's my current plan right now. Yes.
Right.
You never know what happens, but I can't imagine anything happening between now and then.
On that re-election, so we meaning state of New Jersey is due for election next year, right? November. So you would not be running a presidential along with the presidential term. You would not be coinciding the presidential cycle. Do you see that as an advantage or a limitation, or how does that work?
In my district, running during a presidential cycle would actually be helpful because Cape May County is so red. Cumberland County is not, but I believe it would be advantageous. But look, we did a great job, myself, Assemblyman McClellan and Assemblyman Simonson. We're only going to get more known by the time that we're in office. I don't see it as a problem, and it's going to be a gubernatorial year next year in 21. So I don't see it as a problem. Look, I'd like to have been on a ballot with a president at some point in my life.
I was going to ask. That was the next question.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, if you saw your mail-in ballot, I'm a delegate to the RNC this year for President Trump, a statewide delegate. So I would have loved to have been on not just a primary ballot, but an actual ballot with our president.
You can't run on his coattail either.
No, I can't.
No, you can't. So finally, any message for our viewers? We have about 45 to 50 plus million viewership, predominantly in the Northeast and the West Coast, but across the nation and the world. So just so you know, just so our viewers know, this program is being aired live on Facebook, YouTube, Mana TV International, TV5 International. So have you got any message for our viewers?
Look, listen, I think as a nation, we need to focus, and in the state of New Jersey, we need to focus on our similarities rather than our differences. I think that right now, the climate in our nation and the climate in our state, much of which I think is fueled by the media, and it's unfortunate, not you, the media, but your 3, 6s and 10s where I live, the main networks, it's fueling this division. I think we need to really get back to our own communities, talk to each other, and not be afraid to have the difficult conversations. And I think if we sit down and actually talk to each other, and instead of focusing on our phones so much and focusing on being on social media constantly and getting to know your neighbors and speaking to each other, we'll notice that we're a whole lot more similar than we are different, and that we can coexist without hatred and such a divide, and not bash each other for views. I mean, I don't really understand why there is such hatred. If someone tells me that they're a Democrat, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person to me. But to get back to your point earlier, some people are somewhat hesitant to admit that they're a Republican or a staunch Republican for fear of ridicule. And it's unfortunate. I think we all need to come together as a nation, realize that we are one nation, realize that we are one people, and that we can all coexist together and make the United States the greatest nation the world has ever known, because it already is the greatest nation the world has ever known. And we can make New Jersey great again.
Yeah. And keep it that way. Keep America the greatest nation.
That is correct. Yes.
All right, Mr. Testa, thank you for your time. I know people in office are really, really busy. So I really appreciate your time and coming to our show. Thank you.
It's been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, viewers, that's all the time we have for show tonight. We'll come back with another topic next week. Until then, God bless America. Take care.
God bless America. Thank you.